Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to Thursday, I think. Yeah, we're ready to go. We're outside here at cabin 3. Just behind me here, we are fixing to bring the loft area up to the cabin 1 standard right now, in that we're going to frame out the window and then we're going to put the interior sheathing up for that loft as well, and then finish off the day with the insulation nailers. So, little quick update on what happened yesterday. So I drove out about 2.5 hours to pick up the insulation for cabins 1 and 3. I get there, and the first thing the guy says to me, he says, "You're not an angry person, are you?" So I said, why would that be the first thing you say? He says, "Well, I don't have any 2-inch material." So we walk into this warehouse. Pretty good sized place. He's got 4-inch, 3-inch, 2.5, XPS, polyiso, all sorts of stuff, but no 2-inch polyiso. And it was very frustrating. It was very frustrating. I talked to Rebecca. I said, it's a good thing I have 2.5 hours to drive home to cool off, because I was hot. I was upset. And the guy, I mean, you know, things happen, but if you're selling stuff, you know, you kind of expect people to know what their inventory is. So it was just very frustrating. So I stopped off at Lowe's yesterday afternoon after coming home. I wanted to get an estimate for some windows. I wanted to kind of compare the builder store with Lowe's and, you know, the discounts that they offer, to try and see, you know, what better deal I might be able to get through Lowe's, you know, big box store, or, you know, the builder supply. So the builder supply was $150 less than what Lowe's was able to give me with all discounts applied. So yeah, so it looks like we're down to about maybe $500-600 per window. That's going to go in the main house, and then those main house windows are going to come down here to go in these cabin windows. So that's what we're looking at. So we're going to order those relatively soon. I just bought air conditioners this morning for cabins 1, 2, and 3. So those should be here, I think, Friday. So a lot going on. You know, looking further down the road as far as getting some things installed and you know, more completion type stuff. So, but the thing today, we're working on loft stuff, so I'm trying to stay focused. But I wanted to give you an idea of yesterday was just kind of a wasted day. But we're past it now. We're moving on, and yeah. So the search continues for 2-inch polyiso insulation. All right, guys, let's get going. First things first here, to get this part of the loft done, I got to kind of gather some supplies. So it looks like I might be able to utilize some scrap stuff that I have left over here. This will be the sheathing that'll go up. I've just got to rip those rabbet joints down the side there, and we'll cut those for each section. Then I got some leftover 2x material, 2x4s there, and I've got a couple over here that were kind of sitting around in different cabins and stuff. I'm not quite sure where I got them from, but they'll all be usable here for this part of the project. Again, 99% of what you're going to see today is going to be hidden. Really, the only thing you'll see is the inside of the roof sheathing as I put it up on the building. But everything here you'll see today on the outside is going to be covered by insulation and exterior sheathing. So first things first, I want to get these up the hill. I got to put those joints in each side of them, and then we'll be back down and we'll frame out. I think framing out the window is really the first thing I got to get done. So that's yeah, let's work on it. bit of change here from cabin 3 as different from cabin 1. These little things that I kind of do or change really kind of make a difference in that on cabin 1, I've got a 1-inch ridge board that was, I believe, 12 inches across, whereas this one is a 2x10, I believe. And so what that means is these collar ties in this cabin are set higher because they're up against the ridge board. So as I put the support members up against the collar tie, which is right back here, these bottom ones go right up against it. So it's actually 2 inches higher than cabin 1. So that means that the ceiling's higher, obviously, here in cabin 3 than it is in cabin 1, which means that the distance between the deck of the loft and the ceiling is going to be greater. So whereas in cabin 1, I had a 2x4, a rough sawn 2x4 on its side, and then a slightly thinner rough sawn 2x4 on top of that, that was enough to bring me up to the, I believe it was just 3.5 inches, maybe 3 3/4 inches off the deck to make my rough opening 18 3/4. Well, as I just explained, this roof is not like that. So I have to make up more space to get the proper distance for my rough opening for this window. So, I mean, relatively simple, you just got to make it higher. So I got up some blocks up here. So these are all 2x4, rough sawn 2x4s. So they're actual 2x4. So I'm coming up 4 inches plus another 2 inches. So it's basically double the space I had on cabin 1 that I had to make up for. And now the space between this section here and the support sections on the top here that were attached just below the collar tie, this is now just over 18 3/4. Okay, so I'm not too worried about that. I mean, the window's going to have to be shimmed anyway, so you know, another 1/8 of an inch or so with the shim, I think it'll be just fine. Because then the trim work around the inside is at least going to be an inch. I can make that, I've got the mill, I can make the trim, the finished trim inside as wide or as narrow as I need it. So that's the only kind of difference here between cabin 3 and cabin 1. So we'll get this nailed in, then we'll put on our vertical pieces that go straight up, check it for plumb, and try and square the window as best we can. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, gang, got this front loft area. Everything's done on it that we need to get done. So really the only next thing I need to start happening is having some of the insulation put in, and then house wrap, and then we're gonna start putting on the board and bat and stuff. But I'm really at a stopping point now. There's really nothing else I can do as far as wood goes on the cabin until I get this insulation figured out. That being said, since there's no more woodwork to be done on all of these, at least like I said, until I get the insulation in, we're going to move on to some other stuff. So we're going to start assembling everything I need to start running the electrical. You can do most of that except down to the sub panel, which is going to be actually an exterior sub panel on the backs of these cabins, because I really have no place inside to put a sub panel inside the structure. So yeah, I might start pulling some wire. I might start actually framing out the bathroom. I guess there is some wood work to be done. I could start framing out the bathroom, and now that as I'm sitting here talking to myself about it, that might be my next logical step, because we've got a pocket door that's got to be taken care of, the frame of it, we've got space to leave for a vanity that's in there. So yeah, I think I can hit the ground running. We got a couple good days of weather again, and we should be able to make some progress. So yeah, well, I'll put a plan together here this afternoon. It's only 2:45 in the afternoon here, so I've got some time to sit down with a paper and pencil and start sketching out my next couple days. So yeah, well, we're looking forward to it. All right, guys, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like the content you're seeing, everything like that. It's eventually going to lead me to being able to provide you better content. I might even start editing these videos on a computer. We'll see. We'll see. Guys, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on the next one.